Now moving on to the weaknesses. Noor, do you want to start us off with the weaknesses that you
Yeah.
believe they have?
Cool. I think they have some great pace options with Jofra Archer and everything, and they have some really good spinners, especially some really good young Indian spinners. My only concern is that there's not a lot of diversity in the spinning options. There are a lot of leg spinners. There's I don't even think they have one off spinner really. So or not one in the starting 11. So I think they need to really figure that out, especially given the Dubai wickets and how they will develop over the tournament. I think they need to try to figure out a way they can balance out their lack of spin options with their whole bowling strategy. Yeah, that's my one weakness that really stands out to me.
Just any other weaknesses you want to elaborate on?
No, first of all, I'd agree with Noor that we need more diversity in the spin options. But adding to that, if you look at the previous like winners of the IPL, one thing that really stands out in those teams, for example, look at Mumbai Indians or Chennai Super Kings, is that they have a strong core of Indian international players who like play for the first 11 in the Indian team. I feel like that's something that's missing for Rajasthan Royals in the sense that Robin Uthappa used to be in the Indian team, but he couldn't cement his place. He's not playing, and he's nowhere even in the eyes of the circle of the selection committee for now. Sanju Samson's the closest player who comes to the Indian starting 11, but even he's still struggling to find his place into the first 11. So I feel like that's something that we don't have in the Rajasthan Royals squad, and that lack of experience could hurt us in the long tournament that IPL is. And another thing is that we don't have a lot of depth. So Ahaan, you mentioned that we do have a very strong top 5, top 6. There's flexibility there. But if any one or two of them get injured, we don't have much batting depth in our lineup. So we have David Miller who can cover for Steve Smith, Josh Butler, or Ben Stokes. But then even he's way past his peak. And we also have Manan Vora, but then he has a lot of IPL experience, but his average, I think he has an average of around 20, which isn't that great if you want to play in the first 11 for an IPL team. And of course, so we also mentioned, I think you mentioned that we have young Indian fast bowlers. Now, that's really exciting as a Rajasthan Royals fan because we've always believed in our youth, and these guys could go and form like the core of our team in the next of the future IPL seasons. But the thing is, it can also be a miss because these are under 19 fast bowlers who like have a lot of inexperience. It's possible that they fail to perform at the big stage and get injured. We've seen Shivam Mavi and Kamlesh Nagarkoti. I'm worried that the same thing happens with Akash Singh and Kartik Tyagi. So I feel like these are a few weaknesses that RR needs to address before the season starts, or needs to keep in mind during their training sessions or strategy meetings.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Now we can bring Kabir in here finally. Kabir, are there any weaknesses that you'd like to highlight that you see in the Rajasthan Royals?
Okay, firstly, sorry I'm late. But yeah, so two, I think we mentioned a lot of very, very good things, and I think the most important, I think the only one thing that we're missing here right now is that I don't think that apart from, say, Ben Stokes or Josh Butler if he bats later, there aren't any real finishers in the team. You can think of batting Shreyas Gopal sort of as that sort of finishing option as an all-rounder, but then again, he's more of a bowler than a batsman. You can play with David Miller, but then who do you take out of the team? It's all a matter of finding that balance. I mean, Rahul Tewati has a good option as well, but again, he's more of a bowler. So like it's more of that finding that balance where you have a finisher apart from Ben Stokes or apart from Josh Butler, because ideally I think, and going from sort of past evidence, Josh Butler is sent to open the batting in the IPL. So I think that's the only thing that hasn't been mentioned so far that I'd like to add.
Yeah, and one more thing to do with that is that this year they let Krishnappa Gautam go to Kings 11 Punjab, who was playing that role for them last year.
Yeah.
And they got a fast bowler in instead, which was a move I didn't quite understand. But yeah, so I think that covers most of the weaknesses. There aren't any I can think off the top of my head right now.